Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Today we will discuss about this Atomic Habit book which is written by James Clear. Atomic Habits by James Clear, 4 lessons that will change your life. Small habits, big results. What if just 1% daily improvement could change your life forever? That's the magic of Atomic Habits by James Clear. In this video, I will share 4 powerful lessons from Atomic Habits that can help you build good habits, break bad ones, and transform your life step by step. Now, just let's start. The man who did not look right. The psychologist Greg Killian once told me a story about a woman who attended a family gathering. She had spent years working as a paramedic and upon arriving the event took one look at her father-in-law and got very concerned. I don't like the way you look, she said. Her father-in-law, who was feeling perfectly fine, joking replied, well, I don't like your look either. No, she insisted, you need to go to the hospital now. A few hours later, the man was undergoing life-saving surgery after an examination had revealed that he had a blockage to a major artery and was at immediate risk of a heart attack. Without his daughter-in-law intuition, he could have died. What did the paramedic see? How did she predict his impending heart attack? When major arteries are obstructed, the body focuses on sending blood to critical organs and away from peripheral locations near the surface of the skin. The result is change in the pattern of distribution of blood in the face. After years of working with people with heart failure, the woman had unknowingly developed the ability to recognize the pattern on sight. She couldn't explain what it was that she noticed in her father-in-law's face, but she knew something was wrong. Similar stories exist in other fields. For example, military analysts can identify which blip on a radar screen is an enemy missile, which one is a plane from their own fleet, even though they are traveling at the same speed, flying at the same altitude, and look identical on radar in nearly every respect. During the Gulf War, Lieutenant Commander Mitchell Ray saved an entire battleship when he ordered a missile shoot down, despite the fact it looked exactly like the battleship's own plane on radar. He made the right call, but even his superior officer couldn't explain how he did it. Museum curators have been known to disconcert the difference between an authentic piece of art and an expertly produced comforted, even though they can't tell you precisely which details strip them off. Experienced radiologists can look at a brain scan and predict the area where a stroke will develop before an obvious signs are visible to the untrained eye. I have even heard of hair dryers nursing noticing whether a client is pregnant based only on the feel of her hair. With enough practice, you can pick up on the cues that predict certain outcomes without consciously thinking about it. Automatically, your brain encodes the lesson learned through experience. We can't always explain what it is we are learning, but learning is happening all along the way, and your ability to notice the relevant cues in a given situation in the foundation for every habit you have. We underestimate how much our brains and bodies can do what without thinking. You don't tell your hair to grow, your heart to pump, your lungs to breathe, or your stomach to digest. And yet your body handles all these and more on autopilot. You are much more than your conscious self. Consider hunger. How do you know where you are hungry? You don't necessarily have to see a cookie on the counter to realize that it is our time to eat. Appetite and hunger are governed non-consciously. Your body has a variety of feedback loops that gradually alert you when it is time to eat again and that track what is going on around you and within you. Craving can arise thanks to hormones and chemicals circulating through your body. Suddenly you are hungry even though you are not quite sure what tripped you off. This is one of the most surprising insight about our habits. You can don't need to be aware of the cue for a habit to begin. You can notice and opportunity to and don't need to aware of the cue for a habit begin. You can notice an opportunity and take actions without dedicating conscious attention to it. This is what make habits useful. It is also that make them dangerous. As habit form, your action come under the direction of your automatic and non-conscious mind. You fall into old pattern before you realize what's happening unless someone points it out. You may not notice that you cover your mouth with your hand whenever you laugh, that you apologize before asking a question, or that you have a habit of finishing other people's sentences. And the more you repeat this pattern, the less likely you become to question what you are doing and why you are doing it. I once heard of a retail clerk who is instructed to cut up empty gift cards after customer had used on the balance on the card. One day the clerk cashed out a few customers in a row who purchased with gift cards. When the next person walked up, the clerk swiped the customer's actual credit card, picked up the scissor, and then cut it into half, entirely an autopilot. Before looking up at the stunned customer and realizing what had just happened. Another woman I came across in my research was a former preschool teacher who had switched to a corporate job even though she was now working with adults. Her old habits would kick in and she kept asking coworkers if they had washed their hands after going to the bathroom. I also found the story of a man who had spent years of working as a lifeguard and would occasionally yell walk whenever he saw a child running. Over time, the cues that spark our habits become so common that they are essentially invisible. The treat on the kitchen counter, the remote control next to the couch, the phone in your pocket, our response to these cues are so deeply encoded that it may feel like the urge to act comes from nowhere. For this reason, we must begin the process of behavior changes with awareness. Before we can effectively build new habits, we need to get a handle of our current ones. This can be more challenging than it sounds because once a habit is firmly rooted in your life, it is mostly non conscious and automatic. If a habit remains mindless, you can't expect to improve it. As the psychologist Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The Japanese railway system is regarded as one of the best in the world. If you ever find yourself riding a train in Tokyo, you will notice that the conductor have peculiar habits. As each operator runs the train, they proceed throughout a ritual of pointing the different object and calling out commands. When the train approaches a signal, the operator will point it at an EC. Signals is green as the train pulls into and out of each station. The operator will point at the speedometer and call out the exact speed. When it's time on the platform, other employees are performing similar actions. Before each train departs, staff member will point along the edge of the platform and declare all clear. Every detail is identified, pointed at, and named aloud. This process, known as pointing and calling, is a safety system designed to reduce mistake. It seems silly, but it works incredibly well. Pointing and calling reduce errors by up to 85% and cut accident by 30%. The ATM subway system in New York City adopted a modified version that is point only. And within 2 years of implementation, incident of incorrectly buttered sub fall 57%. So let's focus on 4 points. Number one, the power of tiny grains. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you will be 37 times better by the end. Small wins compound over time, just like interest in a bank account. Number two, focus on system, not goals. Goals give direction, but systems create progress. Instead of aiming to lose 10 pounds, focus on building a habit of healthy eating and regular exercise. Point 3. Make habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. The four laws of behavior change. Want to build a habit? Make it visible, appealing, simple, and rewarding. Want to break a bad one? Reverse the formula, make it invisible, attractive, hard, and unsatisfying. Number 4, identity based habits. Don't just set habits for outcome. Set them for who you want to become. Instead of saying I want to run a marathon, say I am a runner. Identity drives action. Atomic habits is not about overnight change. It's about steady invisible growth that become unstoppable. Start small, think big, and let your habits shape your destiny.